Hi, everybody. Today, my t-shirt is from our 2016 Vacation Bible School. The theme that year was Call, C-A-L-L, or Children Are Loved by the Lord. For the picture on the shirt, I came up with the idea of a megaphone to symbolize call. What do you think of whenever you hear the word call? Well, there's calling on the phone, and maybe you call your dog to come to you, or your mom or dad may call you for dinner. When I think of call, I think of God's call. Lots of people have a call story. Those are stories about how people discovered that God was calling them to do or be something. I have a call story about how I became a deacon. It actually starts when I was a bit younger than those of you in my confirmation class. The funny thing was that when I was your age, I didn't realize God was calling me. I'd never heard of what was formerly known as an associate in ministry in the church. And it wasn't until many years later that I realized that I had been preparing to answer God's call for a long time. I'll save the rest of that story, though, for another time. The Bible tells us of the call of the disciples. We watched a video in our class about those stories, and usually a rabbi would be interviewed by prospective students as they decided who they wanted to study with and follow. It was kind of like you would apply to a college or several colleges one day and then decide which one you like the best. How Jesus, a rabbi, found his followers was very different. They didn't go to him, he went to them. They weren't the brightest and the best either. They were fishermen and even a tax collector. But Jesus said, I want you on my team. I want you to be one of my disciples and to learn how to spread the gospel. I want you to be able to tell my story and your story. Jesus has called you too. He wants you to be one of his disciples and to share the gospel. In fact, you got the call when you were probably just a baby. When you were baptized, Jesus promised gifts to you to answer and to fulfill that call. Think about how Jesus is calling you today. How can you be a disciple right now, not just when you grow up? I think the disciples were pretty young guys when Jesus called them. No one is too young or too old to be a disciple. And we'll talk more about that next week. Until then, listen for your call.